So, we're now a few days on from the initial announcement of FM25's release date, and all of the stuff that came with it, the fact that they didn't really tell us too much more, but made pre-orders available, and then gave us this roadmap without really telling us when we're going to learn more about these things on the roadmap. We've done a whole video about that we can talk about, everything that we know about Football Manager so far, but a few months ago, back in May, we did what we called our FM25 wish list, looking at things that we wanted to be added to the new game. Since then, we've obviously had some things being taken away and some more information given, and with the fact that we've got this roadmap with some vague ideas of what we might hopefully learn about, I'm now going to do an updated wish list of 5 things I'm hoping to see during this release period of FM25. For those of you that might not have seen it, this is the roadmap that I'm talking about. Basically, on the Football Manager website, you've got a list of things that they're going to introduce to us. The first one being women's football on the 7th of October, and then we'll learn more about the interface, tactics, match experience, your manager, and we're getting that on an undecided date right now. I'd assume it will be weekly, but what we don't know is what is incorporated within these sections, like tactics, what tactical changes are being made on the new game, match experience, what are we expecting to change. I've been speculating about what might be in all of those sections in my own head, so now I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I'm hoping to see when the new game and its features are released. Now, the first one might be a little bit of a cop-out. It's not exactly a feature that I want to see, but just something I'm really hoping we do see for FM25, and that is a beta. Now, what I mean by this is every year when you pre-order Football Manager, in the past, you get a beta 2 weeks before, but this time around they have not mentioned that, and I really want to see it, not just because I want to play the game early and it helps me with content creation, and obviously you guys get to play the game earlier, but with this being a new era, a new engine and whatnot, there's going to be a lot of bugs, and the whole point of the beta period previously was, yes, we got to play the game early, but that was our time to see if all these sections were working, if the new set pieces were working last year, for example. We were then allowed to hit a button that said report bug, and that helped them fix the game before release. It's much easier to test the game when you've got thousands of people playing around the world, as opposed to, you know, the handful of people that might have tested the game previously. So for that reason, I really do hope we see a beta. I think it will help the game as a whole. My current speculation about it is we will get one. Personally, I think we will. My only thing is I think they're not saying when, because there's been a lot of delays with this game already. I'm not necessarily sure they want to guarantee that we're going to get something 2 weeks before, when it might get pushed. Maybe the beta will be 1 week before, for example. They don't want to sell it right now as a 2-week beta period, because the worst thing they could do potentially is say, you're going to get the beta on this date, you get to that date, and they haven't quite finished everything yet, which would be worrying anyway, but say they did, and then the game gets even more bad rep from the people that have used the beta, which then could, you know, cause issues in terms of people actually buying the game. So just putting that out there, I would love to see a beta period. That's kind of like a cheat thing that I want to see, but I do want to see that. I think it will help the game massively. The second thing that I want to see a change with, though, and something that I do actually expect we will get delivered to us for FM25, is a complete change of the match engine. Now, this is something that I asked for in my FM25 wishlist originally. Since then, we've been given information about the fact that the game's interface is changing and not looking like a spreadsheet anymore, which is something I did ask for in the past, even though what I'm seeing currently maybe I'm not fully convinced on, but match experience is something we know nothing about currently. We don't know if the gameplay is going to look different. We expect it will, because it's on a new engine now, the Unity engine. There's also part of me that thinks they'll try and just replicate the current match engine and improve everything else first, and in a few years they might update the match engine, but I think it needs an upgrade. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the animations and the way it plays need to change, but I just think in general the graphical capacity of the game has fell behind in recent years, and I know some people are going to play it on like lesser PCs and laptops, and there should be some kind of slider where you can turn the graphics down still, but I think we're at a point now where even me, who necessarily isn't bothered about the graphics in FM, and I've said that plenty of times, we've all got to admit, a game that's selling for 40 quid in 2025, that's on consoles and PC, not like a mobile game, a fully fledged game, should look a little bit better than this, and I'm hoping it will. From the player models to the stadiums to how the pitch looks, everything, I'm really hoping we get an improvement. I know it's going to have some teething issues, I'm sure, in terms of animation, if they do change the match engine completely, because it is going to be rebuilt in Unity, of course, but yeah, I just want to see it look better, and I think that's something that will really help push the game. If they do make the game look a little bit better graphically, that'll bring lots of new players on board, because currently I know people that have played the game, and they look at this and they think, I'm not playing this must be some cheap mobile game or something. No, it's really good, it just doesn't look amazing. So if they can improve the graphics, I think that'll be a huge boost to the game. Moving on to the third thing I want to see though, and it all relates to this here, which was quite a surprising thing. Like, we expect changes to the match experience and the interface, but they're going to talk about, and bear in mind this is the last thing they're going to talk about before they speak about mobile and console, but the last thing they're really focusing on as a new feature is this Your Manager section. Now, who knows what this entails, and when they reveal it, I would love to see what it is, because it really is up in the air. Now, is it going to be as simple as, you know, you can customize the way your manager looks a little bit better than before? I would say no, just because they wouldn't dedicate a whole area to that. I really doubt they would, and if they did, that might upset a few people, doing a whole release talking about how you can now add, you know, different color watches to your guy or something. No, I want to see something big here in this Your Manager section. I don't know what it is, but I have been speculating, and I wonder if it might be some kind of revamp of how the coaching badges work and your attributes work as a manager. Part of me thinks it might be something to do with your milestones as manager. They added that in a couple of FMs ago, where you can now see like a manager timeline of everything you've achieved. Maybe it's some kind of change in that, but I don't quite think it would be. Again, I'm not sure that would be worth its whole area, but I think it would be cool to have some kind of change to your manager attributes. Maybe not completely change the way it works, but have a little more transparency about how these things are helping you as a manager and improving them over time. I think the better the transparency there will help. So I'm really interested to see what is in this Your Manager section. The fourth thing that I'm hoping to see in the new FM game though, and this is kind of linked in with the fact they are rebuilding the whole match engine and the whole game, is kind of a change in the way attributes work. So if you played FM in recent years, you know there's probably been some controversy, or you've maybe just felt it in game, that having really strong physical attributes kind of weighs more than everything else. And there is the argument for this, that if you did have a player with 20 pace, 20 strength and 20 jumping reach, yes, they should score more than anyone, even if their finishing isn't great, because they are genuinely a superhuman athlete and no one can compete with them. But when you get someone like this, Marko Milivanovic, who is decent mentally, actually he's quite well-rounded mentally, but isn't the world's best finisher, and physically he's not great at any one thing, but he's kind of really well-rounded. Should this kind of player be able to score 29 goals in 27 games in no real special tactic or anything like that? Maybe he should. I'm not so sure. I think we've all played FM and realised anyone with good physical attributes will do better than people that have better technicals and mentals. And I'm not saying that's totally wrong in itself, but I think there should be more of a balance now. Now, it's been like this for a few years, and I'm no game programmer, so I don't know how you would fix it when you rebuild the game. Maybe you just weight certain attributes more than others. But currently, if you play a save and look at the top goal scorers in your division, I guarantee you pretty much all of them will be some kind of physical beast, whether they've just got really good pace or really good strength, or sometimes you get someone like this where they're just well-rounded at it all, and that just makes them a top goal scorer. Whereas if you had someone with, say, 11s in all the physicals but had 20 finishing, he'd do nowhere near as good. And there obviously is real-life elements to how that would work, but I think it is just weighted too far into physicals. I think everyone knows that, and I would like to see a change in that come the new Football Manager. The fifth thing that I want to see, though, is something that we have got a little bit of a glimpse of in some of the screenshots that have been released of the new game, yet it's a little bit in the air. Now, the thing that I'm talking about is Newgen faces. Now, I'll put a screenshot on screen right now that got released on the Steam page where you can buy Football Manager, and you'll see there's a player in the bottom right corner that does look like a Newgen face, and from that I thought, you know what, Newgens do look a little bit better than they did previously. Personally, I would have liked it to be more photorealistic and like a randomly generated AI face or something, but if this is what we're getting, I suppose it at least differentiates a Newgen and a real player. But the thing that's strange about this, and the reason I'm not fully set on this being how Newgens will look, is that player is a real player. He's not a Newgen. He is someone that plays for Brighton. He's on loan at Blackburn. So is it the case of they just didn't have his photo in time, so couldn't have it in the game, so they used the Newgen face? Or is it just some kind of stock image that they've put there? I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure this is what Newgen faces look like, but I definitely want to see an improvement on how Newgens look. I think the fact that there's mods out there now that can give you photorealistic faces for Newgen shows that Sports Interactive probably should be able to do it. If they choose to go down that route, I assume it was some kind of artistic direction that they're not going to, if that's what they choose. But I would really like to see how the Newgen faces look. It's hard to judge it off just one face that we see in this image, even if that is actually a Newgen. We're not really sure yet because, like I say, he is a real player. But that is something that I've wanted to see an improvement on for a long time, and fingers crossed we get it, because in-game right now, they just never really look that cool. They've always got these massive, like, slug eyebrows, pretty much all of them. And yeah, I just like to see it look a little bit more realistic than what we're seeing there. But there you go. That's some things I want to see in the new Football Manager. Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.